Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're making a very famous Chinese pork dish, the traditional sweet and sour pork ribs. Also, I'll be telling you the story behind this dish, which is very entertaining, so don't miss out. Hi new friends, this is Erica here. I'm a Chinese citizen currently living in America. Cooking and traveling is my passion, so I'm here to share with you my favorite Asian recipes. On top of that, all my videos cover a little food knowledge and the history background of the dish, as well as a Chinese lesson at the end of the video to teach you how to pronounce the dish that I'm making today in Chinese. So if that interests you, please subscribe and keep watching. The combination flavor of sweet and sour is used worldwide. Even McDonald's have their own signature sweet and sour chicken nugget sauce, which by the way, it's so good. But the sweet and sour pork ribs is definitely originated from Zhejiang, China, which is the south of Shanghai, a beautiful state with amazing food. If you like Chinese food, you probably had the sweet and sour pork before, either from takeout or Chinese restaurant, but not much people know the folktale behind it. So that's why I'm here. One day, there was a beggar that's wearing a monk robe and holding a broken fan come to the city of Wuxi. He walked into a butcher shop / restaurant and asked the owner for money. The owner looked at him and said, "I don't have any money, but if you want, you can have a piece of meat." Then he picked up a pound of meat and threw it to the beggar. But what the butcher didn't know is that this beggar is actually the legendary living Buddha Ji Gong. Here we need to briefly introduce this Ji Gong character before we get into the story so you can feel the vibe better. Ji Gong's real name is Li Daoji. In Chinese, the Gong character actually means Mr., which is very similar to Dong in Spanish. So Ji Gong actually means Mr. Ji. He lives between 1129 to 1202. He's a monk, but he didn't really act like one. He loved to drink alcohol and also loved eating meat, which are both not really allowed as a monk. And he's always wandering around on the street with his broken outfit with tons of patches on it, crazy dirty hair, and always waving his beaten up fan. If you see him as a person, you'll probably thought he's a beggar as well. But all these are actually just his appearance. Ji Gong loved to joke around, but he also loved to help the weak and poor in his own way. So even though he got kicked out of the temple, but he was still loved and respected by the people. There's a lot of movies and TV shows that's talking about this character. Me personally, I grew up watching a few. I love it. It is mostly comedy because of Ji Gong's interesting personalities. Some people believe that Ji Gong is not actually a real person, but with tons of documents talking about Ji Gong and also the exact date of birth and death for him, it seems pretty legit to me, but I guess this will always remain a mystery. Okay, so back to the story. Ji Gong took the meat and started eating it, and when he's finished, he asked for more and more and more. I can totally imagine the shameless face of his, like on the TV show. Finally, the owner had enough. The owner said angrily, "Now you ate all my meat, what I'm gonna sell tomorrow?" And Ji Gong replies very casually saying, "Well, then just sell the bones." While he's speaking, he pulled down a few bristles from his beaten fan and then wrapped it around the leftover bone and handed it to the owner. "Cook this bone with the bristle and the meat I ate will be paid back double to you." The owner looked up and down at the beggar in front of him and feels like he didn't seem to be joking, but he was still skeptical. The next morning, the owner thought about what Ji Gong said and he thought he might as well give it a try since Ji Gong seems pretty serious. So he put the bristle and the bones into a pot, cover it, and start cooking it. All of a sudden, a savory, tangy smell started coming out from the pot. He opened the lid and saw a pot full of meaty bones bubbling. He took a bite of it. The meat is soft, juicy, and full of fragrance. The story spread out in the town within a day, and all the neighbors heard the news, came to his shop to witness this miraculous event. Since then, this butcher started to sell this meat bone dish in his restaurant and turned really wealthy. Okay, so now I understand why some people don't believe Ji Gong is real. But anyways, real or not, hundreds of years later, this Wuxi meat bone dish turned into the sweet and sour pork rib that we're making today. And we, as a later generation, got to enjoy this amazing dish from either the magical Ji Gong or the talented storyteller butcher. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the little story time with me. But without further ado, let's get into the cooking, shall we? Here's the ingredient we'll need for today's sweet and sour pork ribs. First, I have the ribs. My ribs are pre-chopped in a butcher shop because I don't have a butcher knife, but if you can cut it yourself, you can just get it in the normal supermarket. When it comes to the size, there's no really restrictions, but me personally, I like to be in the bite size so it's easier to eat and put it into a lunchbox. But if you want it to be fancy, you can get a whole ribs, it doesn't really matter. And besides the meat, we also need ginger and green onion. This green onion is huge. His name in H Mart that I saw is Big Green Onion, but if you really want to find it online, his real name is Welsh onions. And we only need the white part. This in total is probably this long, but we don't need the green part. I'll take it off and I can put it into soup when I cook soup later. We only need the green onion white part for today's recipe. And for the sauce, we'll need some soy sauce, cooking wine. This is the Shaoxing cooking wine. And also the vinegar, we call it in Chinese the old vinegar. If not, just use normal vinegar to replace it, it's fine. And of course, we'll need some salt, sugar, and at the end, we'll top it with some sesame seeds right here. And as usual, the actual amount will be in a description box down below. For the sugar coloring, which is very similar to caramel sauce, we'll need sugar, some vegetable oil, and some water. The recipe is very simple and beginner friendly, but it will make you look really professional. If you're trying to impress someone, this is the dish I'll make. First thing first, let's prep our ingredients. We need to chop the big green onion into big pieces so it can fit into the pot, and smash the ginger block. Then just set them aside together. Next, we're gonna make the sauce. Get a bowl and mix in 80 grams of rock sugar, 50 grams of vinegar, quarter teaspoon of salt, and 10 grams of soy sauce. Just use the measure spoon and mix it real well and set it aside. Next, we need to blanch the rib to get rid of the impurity before we braise it. Put the ribs into the water and add some cooking wines to get rid of the gummy taste in the pork. Turn the heat to high and wait till it starts boiling. In the meantime, we'll have to make something that is really important for this dish to make this simple recipe look extra professional. The popularity of Chinese sweet and sour pork ribs is not only due to its delicious taste, but also its beautiful color. And the reason why a restaurant can achieve this golden, shiny, juicy brown coating on the ribs is all thanks to the tang se, which if you translate it straight, it will be the sugar coloring. Simply put, it's the watered down caramel. And here's how you make it. Get a pan and add in 1 tablespoon of olive oil and 100 grams of sugar. You can use cane sugar if you want, but I like to use the rock sugar because it would give it an extra shiny look into the coloring. Turn the heat on to medium-low and start stir-frying. The sugar coloring is very commonly used in Chinese braised meat. The purpose of it is to add in a color coating on the meat and make it look more appetizing and adding a little sweet taste into it as well. When the pot heats up, the sugar will start melting and turn from solid to liquid, then brown. Be patient and keep stirring non-stop until it starts bubbling. Immediately add in hot water and turn off the heat. Keep mixing until it's all evenly mixed up and it's done. We don't need that much sugar coloring today, so I'll keep it in the glass jar and let it cool down. You can keep the extra sugar color in a jar and put it into the fridge. With a low temperature, it can easily stay good for a year. Now, the ribs should be boiling. Scoop out the scum and take out the ribs. Now I'm using the same wok. Just heat it up again and add in 2 tablespoons of oil. When the oil is hot, add in the ribs and stir fry for 3 minutes in medium-high heat. 3 minutes later, you can see that the ribs are turning a bit golden, then add in the ginger and green onions. Stir a few times and add in 1 tablespoon of Shaoxing wine. And make sure to pour the wine from the side of the wok. Let the wine touching the hot wok right away will give it extra aroma and activate the wine flavor better. Now, keep stir frying it for another 2 minutes and add in 1.5 tablespoon of sugar coloring. Keep stir frying until the ribs are all coated with the sugar color. You can see that the meat are now bright and shiny. When you're ready, it's time to add in our sweet and sour sauce. Mix it all together and make sure all the sugar are melted, then add in warm water. The water you add have to cover all the meat, which I use around 700 grams with my wok. But depends on your cookware, it might be different. Wait till it starts boiling and let it simmer for 30 minutes. Depending on the shape of your cookware and also the water you add in, you might need more time than this. The longer you cook, the softer the meat will be, so anytime between 30 minutes to 15 minutes are all fine. The more meat you got on your rib, it tends to need more time. If you're not sure about the cooking time, just take a bite and see if the meat is as soft as you would like. If not, add in more hot water and let it keep cooking until it fits your standard. When you're ready, turn the heat to medium and let it thicken up the sauce for around 10 minutes. This is the final look you want to see on your ribs. And done! The Chinese sweet and sour porks are ready. Every time I'm making this Chinese sweet and sour pork, the whole apartment smells so good. Look at this beautiful color. If I tell you that I got this from the restaurant, you will totally believe in me, right? If you make this dish without the sugar coloring, it will still taste really good. But the sugar color definitely gave it a little extra sweet taste and also a beautiful color coding that you don't want to miss out. There's many different recipes to make sweet and sour pork, but my recipe will be a little more sweet than sour, but you can definitely taste both of the flavor. After boiling it for 40 minutes, the meat is super soft. That will come right off the bone when you bite on it. The sauce that comes with the sweet and sour pork is perfect to eat with rice, so definitely prepare some rice before you start your dinner. Now let's enjoy this amazing dish together and learn some Chinese. The word of the day today is 糖醋排骨, sweet and sour pork ribs. The first word today with one character is 糖. It means sugar. And the second word with one character is 醋, which means vinegar. And the last word with two characters is 排骨, which means pork ribs. So when you put it together, it's the sweet and sour pork rib. 糖醋排骨. Thank you for cooking with me today. Let me know if you like the recipe by giving this video a thumbs up. It's only going to take you a second, but it means a lot to me. I make a video like this every Thursday, so remember to hit that bell, then you'll never miss out. Last but not least, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!